Welcome back. I'm Helen.
I'm James.
And we are Global Nomads. And in 2024, we sold everything we owned to retire early and travel full time.
When we started our Nomad journey in April 2024, the first thing we did was a tour of America. Now, we haven't released any of this video because we've been trying to get our heads around YouTube and editing videos and just trying to catch up with everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the past and start showing you our trip around America. And this is the first part, which is our trip on the California Zephyr, where we go from Chicago to Emeryville.
San Francisco.
So good morning from a very chilly Chicago Union Station. It's the end of April and I think it's 41 degrees. It's freezing cold. We are about to go into the Metropolitan Lounge, which is available to people who are in sleeper cars, and our train leaves at 2 p.m. It should do anyway. We all know how Amtrak runs on time though. It should leave at 2 p.m. We're going to be boarding the California Zephyr for the first leg of our journey to head towards Denver, where we should arrive at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So
probably not.
Let's see what time we get there. Now, if you don't have luggage, you can actually go in this entrance. There's actually a whole lot of construction going on, so it's quite difficult to get into. You can see this here. And when you come in, you'll see, oh, here's the Metropolitan Lounge. But no, don't go in this door here if you have luggage. We learned this. You see there's a sign here that says elevator access. And then down here, there's a sign that says elevator access. A note from the wise, use the elevator access, not the stairs with your luggage, because it's not good.
If you're traveling in a roomette or in a bedroom, you will also have access in certain stations to the Metropolitan Lounge. In Chicago, there's actually a really good Metropolitan Lounge before you board the train. And in here, just like an airport lounge, you can wait. There's screens up with the departure times, as well as non-alcoholic drinks and snacks on offer. When you arrive in the lounge, you do check in with the attendant. You can leave your luggage here if you want to go off and walk around the station. Otherwise, you can take a seat in the lounge. There was also a pay bar when we were here in the afternoon. In the morning, it's not there. Otherwise, there's tea and coffee and soft drinks, and a good place to grab a couple of snacks to take on the train with you as well. When your train is ready for boarding, they will make an announcement, and an attendant is going to walk you down to your track number where you're going to be able to board the train.
We just had carry-ons, and even taking carry-ons up the stairs is a bit of a struggle. So don't be taking a large suitcase. Just check it in at the desk. Check it in, pick it up when you get out, and that will make your life a lot easier. It's not designed to take big suitcases.
If you do insist on taking your big suitcase though, there is a luggage storage area on the lower level of the train cars. It's very limited though. And honestly, the space in the roomettes is so tight, you're not going to want to take even a carry-on up there with you. We left our carry-ons down on the lower level and just took our backpacks up to the roomette with us, which had our laptops and kind of valuables in. We also usually take a separate bag, which has our things that we really want accessible while we're on the train. So we had like a small reusable shopping tote type bag, and we put in there like our pajamas, toothbrush, snacks, anything that you want easily accessible while you're on the train. And right on time, we rolled out of Chicago Union Station for the first leg of our journey to Denver.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we are passing the mighty Mississippi River. Once we get on the other side, we've been Iowa. leaving Illinois behind us once again.
There's 3 levels of service on Amtrak. So there's regular coach, which is a regular seat. Then there's the Roomette, which is the next version up which we used, which is basically 2 seats that face each other and are going to turn into bunks in the evening, but it does have a door and makes it private. And then finally there's the bedrooms.
Hi and welcome to the California Zephyr. We are here at Chicago Union Station and we are in a Roomette. And I'm going to give you a quick tour, and it will be quick because there's not a lot to it. So behind me, as you can see, we've got 2 seats that face each other, one on the left, one on the right. And later on tonight, these will actually slide together to become the bottom bunk. Above my head right here, you can see this is actually going to be the top bunk, and this will fold down tonight. We actually put our bags up there. It worked quite well to actually put our bags up there on the way. So that's going to be the top bunk. It's a little bit narrow up there. I think it's about 22 inches wide, so guess what? I'm not going up there. I will be on the bottom bunk, which is a little bit wider. You can see, if you want to take a look, each seat has its own reading light, which you can turn like a touchscreen on and off. We've got volume control, and there's a power outlet there too. And then on this side, we've also got an individual light, and this has got the master light as well for the lights up here, which you can also put into a night light situation. There's a small mirror and a couple steps here where we've got our bag to get up to the top bunk tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that's it for now. Like I said, really quick tour. This one actually has been upgraded. It's got like the leather seats. The last one we were on had the fabric seats. You do get a pillow each. And up the top is the bedding. You get a bedding and a sheet and a blanket too. Obviously we'll get those tonight. I think that's it. Compact and bijou. Oh, I know what I forgot to show you. It's the table. So when you're sitting down opposite, it gives a couple hangers. We're not going to hang anything up. So this comes out like that. And then if you want to, you can put this bit down too to make it bigger. There is a checkers board here. Not sure who plays checkers anymore, but okay. So there is a table because you can eat in your room, or you can go to the dining car. Okay, I'll put that back in a minute. They also give you a bottle of water each. And it's nice to have a nice view. I think that's it.
In the Amtrak bedrooms, you are going to have your own ensuite. I mean, that's kind of a grand title for it because it's a teeny tiny cubicle, and there is a shower in there and a toilet. If you are in the Roomettes, you are going to have access to a shared toilet. So on the upper level, there's going to be just one toilet, which is shared. On the lower level, you're also going to find some more toilets and some showers. The showers were kept pretty clean. We didn't use them, but they are kept pretty clean, and they're stocked with soap and towels as well. On most of the routes we took, the toilets were well maintained. Each car does have a attendant, so that attendant is going to take care of the upstairs and the downstairs roomettes and bedrooms. So they are kept pretty busy, so be nice to these guys. And they're going to make sure that the bathrooms are kept well stocked and cleaned, as well as provide water and coffee.
Coffee and water facilities are located next to the stairs on the upper level. So normally from the morning, from about 6 or 7 a.m, there is coffee that's provided, and it's going to be there until it runs out.
6 till 11, I think it is, that they state. We actually had it earlier than that and later than that, but typically it's 6 till 11. The car attendant will come and ask you when you want your bunk to be made, your roomette to be made down into bunks. Typically, I think they usually want to be done by like 9 o'clock, but they'll ask you a time usually. And to be fair to them, they've got a lot to do, so keep that in mind too. When you tell them that you're ready though, they're going to fold the bottom 2 seats down, and that's going to make the lower bunk, and pull down the top bunk from the ceiling. Top tip for that top bunk on the ceiling, if you do have bags, you can release it like halfway down and store your bags up there during the day as well. Just watch your head. It doesn't have to come all the way down, but you will still bang your head on it if you're not careful, as you found out.
Yes, as we did.
Yes, well, you did. I didn't. And they will make your bed up for you at this point too. So they're going to place a mattress topper over the top of the seats. And there's a lower sheet and a top sheet and a blanket. The bedding is actually pretty nice, being though you're on a train. It's not that bad at all. You can control the temperature in the roomettes, maybe kind of ish if it's working.
If you're lucky.
I was usually okay. We did go on a train in 2022 where the air conditioning did not work though. And it was August and it was boiling hot. But we didn't have that problem on any of the other trains this time.
No, they all ran.
And the temperature is pretty decent in there. I was never particularly hot or cold.
I think you're hotter if you're on the second bunk, on the top bunk.
Heat rises, yeah.
Yeah, because the heat rises, so it's a bit hotter on there, but nothing crazy. And
in terms of the size of the bunks, they're a pretty decent size. The lower one, I think, is about 23 inches wide. The top one, I think, is very slightly narrower.
I think it's 21 or 22.
So you might want the smallest person and the most agile to go on the top bunk. There is some steps.
I've never been called small or agile, but never mind, I'll take
You're
it.
You're smaller and more agile than me. There is some steps to head up to that top bunk. And once you're up there, there are some safety straps to stop you from rolling out as well. And you need them.
Yes.
How did you find sleeping on the top bunk?
I think Amtrak is a particularly rocky train. We have done sleeper trains before, and this one does tend to move quite a lot. The two straps that hold you in are actually essential. If you don't, there is a good chance you could fall out of your bunk if you're on the top. So you do need to strap yourself in, literally, because you do move around quite a lot. I wouldn't say it's the best night's sleep I've ever had. I might say it's the worst night's sleep I've ever had. But the reason that we spaced the journey out into separate days is so that we only ever spent one night on the train, and then we could go and have a refresher, to have a shower and a refresh, and explore our next destination while we carried on our way.
In terms of sleep as well, I would also suggest, if you are a light sleeper, to bring earplugs for sure, because it is quite noisy. The train will be blowing its horn all night, pretty much. Every time you go over a crossing or through a town, there's a lot of horn blowing, so it is quite loud. Also, an eye mask if you're a light sleeper. There are some curtains in the roomettes, but the lights in the corridor are kept on all night, so there will be some light seepage into the room. In terms of security, at the door to your roomette, you can lock from the inside, but not the outside. So for sleeping, that's fine. Nobody can get into you. When you go to the dining car, though, you will have to leave your items in your room. Now, we left laptops in backpacks and my camera and other stuff. We never had an issue because your cabin attendant is up and around. And even when you stop in a station, the cabin attendant is by the door. So nobody's really going to get onto the train that is not supposed to be on the train, basically.
And one top tip, inflatable pillows. The pillows on Amtrak, you receive one pillow per person.
They're nice pillows though, the bedding is good. But yeah, they're quite flat. So we had bought a couple of Sea to Summit inflatable camping pillows, which are almost a regular pillow size, and they worked really well. And even if you're just sitting on the regular seat, you want a back support, it's useful for that too. So, you know, when you go on an airplane now and you always take those Clorox wipes with you, well, you're going to want to do the same on the train. It's cleaned about as well as an airplane is. It's not dirty. Typically, we did have one instance where it was, but usually it's not dirty, but it's just like a plane that, you know, they're not being deep cleaned in between turnovers. So I usually take some Clorox wipes with me and I wipe down like the tables, the door handles, all that stuff. And you probably want some hand sanitizer too. Although the bathrooms always had soap and water and hand towels in there. I didn't have a problem with that.
The issue with the toilets is really as the journey goes on, they're very, very clean at the start of the journey. and then 51.5 hours in, as to who knows what's gone on in there, then it definitely does start to feel a bit less clean.
A bit more used. It was never dirty though, and they do stop to empty the tanks along the way as well. So you will have some longer stops on these longer journeys where the tanks are emptied.
The other thing to consider about the horn that Helen's just mentioned is that if you are at the front of the train, and there's no way of knowing where you're going to be when you book your ticket, if at the front of the train, the noise is going to be pretty loud. And if you're at the back of the train,
it'll be less loud.
It'll be less loud.
It's still loud though.
However, it doesn't really matter where you do, because every time you go through a crossing, that horn will go, and it will go all night. We cross Iowa and Nebraska before we arrive into Denver.
So good morning from just outside Denver. We had not a bad night's sleep, not fantastic. You are on a moving train after all, and they are blowing the horn almost constantly for roads and traffic during the night, but it wasn't too bad. I had the bottom bunk, of course. James took the top bunk. Like I said, what is it now, 7:30ish, and we're just on the outskirts of Denver. They do have to do this maneuver where they back the train in, apparently, which I didn't know. But overall, it wasn't too bad. Had some coffee this morning, had some water. Dinner last night was on par with an economy airplane meal on a plane. You know, you're not going to get fine dining. But it was okay. So we're going to be here in Denver for a couple of days before we get on the Rocky Mountaineer on Sunday. So very excited about that.
The total distance from Chicago to Emeryville is 2,438 miles. This is Amtrak's longest daily route. And if you rode it completely, it would take 51.5 hours.
Along this journey, it's going to take you through 7 states, from your starting point of Chicago in Illinois, through Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, before finally reaching Emeryville, close to San Francisco in California. Along the way, you're going to make a total of 33 stops.
With our trips around America on Amtrak, we broke it down into sections, so we only ever spent one night sleeping on the train at each time. And this allowed us to get off and explore the place that we were actually going to. So we split this journey into 4 stops. The first part of this journey took us from Chicago to Denver. It was a total of 1,038 miles, and it cost us in a roomette $874. After taking a few days in Denver, our next leg was on the Rocky Mountaineer. Now, the majority of this route you can run on Amtrak, but the reason we chose not to is because this is listed as one of the most picturesque train journeys in the world, and definitely one of the most picturesque in America. By doing Rocky Mountaineer, you do it all during the day. You also do it with windows which are a lot bigger, which allows you to have a lot more
They're proper scenic
viewing cars.
So the window goes into the ceiling as well.
And you get a little bit more comfort. So we chose to do this leg of the journey, which is following the same Amtrak train, but on the Rocky Mountaineer. Now the cost is considerably higher.
And the track actually goes a bit further. You reach a point where you divert from the Amtrak rails and head off down to Moab. So Amtrak doesn't go down to Moab. It doesn't go that far, which was the other reason we did it as well.
Yeah. And we spent a few days in Moab. Now, we have done a separate video on this, which you can watch. I'll drop a couple of clips in here. It was absolutely one of the most picturesque train journeys that we've done. It just happened to be that we booked it on a day that it snowed the day before. And as we climbed into the Rockies, it was magical, really.
It was like a postcard.
A postcard, just amazing. So some of the best views that we've ever had out of a train, and although it was a lot more expensive than doing the same journey on Amtrak, it was well worth it because we saw it all during the daylight. third leg of our journey took us from Green River, which is the nearest station to Moab, to Salt Lake City. It was a very short journey. It was only 182 miles, and again in a roomette cost us $219. Because space is limited, you need to book a time for dinner, and the restaurant manager will be down once you're situated in your cabin to check on what time is available for you to get on. Now remember that people are joining this journey all the way through, so sometimes there is not always availability at the time you want. Also, this is a shared dining experience, so you will be situated, if there's two of you, with another two people. There is not the opportunity to have individual seating. That's not the deal here. You're going to go and make friends.
The dining car is arranged into booths, so each table seats 4 people. Typically they sit you with your dining buddy on your side of the table, and you'll sit opposite some new friends. If you do go for dinner in the dining car, remember that you will need to tip the guys and girls in here too. They are going to bring you your 3-course dinner, take your orders. You usually get a drink included as well. So all your food in the dining car is included in your roomette price. You'll get a 3-course dinner as well as a drink, one drink. It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic. That's going to be included. And remember to tip these guys and girls who are taking care of you. The other alternative, if you so wish, is you can eat in your roomette or bedroom. They'll provide the menu for you in your roomette or bedroom, and then you can ask a cabin attendant to fetch your food for you and bring it into you. Remember to tip these guys. A, you're going to get better service, and B, honestly, these car attendants are working really hard. We spent a couple of days in Salt Lake City and took a side tour to Antelope Island State Park before we rejoined the California Zephyr and headed to the final destination in Emeryville. This particular route on the California Zephyr does take place in Superliner Cars. So these cars are going to be double-decker. For us, I like to be on the upper level because you are going to get less noise. Having said that, there is slightly more sway at the top if you just think about the center of gravity. And there is a little narrow staircase to navigate to reach your seat or your roomette as well. So bear that in mind if you do have mobility issues. You might just want to board from the lower level. At most stations, you're still going to have steps even to board at the lower level though. On many of these long distance trains, you're going to find an observation car too. This is usually going to be a separate car that is located between the sleeper carriages and the regular coach seating. In here, you'll find large panoramic windows and great views through the scenery. However, they do normally get pretty busy, and you may find that you can't snag a seat in here. On the lower level of these cars, you're also going to find this is the cafe car. So as well as the restaurant where you can get a full meal, downstairs in the cafe car, there is some space for seating and like a snack bar. So it's mainly kind of microwave meal things, some noodles, ramen noodles, as well as sandwiches, hot and cold drinks, and snacks like chocolate, candy, chips, all that kind of stuff.
If you book in a coach seat, you can stay in this observation car for the whole of the journey. But either way, you're going to be sleeping in your seat for a couple of days. So bear that in mind if you do book coach with Amtrak on a long distance train. The fourth leg of this journey took us from Salt Lake City to Emeryville. It was 726 miles, it was overnight, and it cost us a total of $582.80 for a roomette.
California Zephyr is touted as one of the most scenic routes in the Amtrak network or in the world, and it really does live up to that reputation. Basically, from when you leave Chicago and head out through Illinois and the flat plains, through to the mountains of the Rockies, and then out the other side through Utah and the Red Rocks to San Francisco and the beaches in California. It really is a stunning journey and a great way to see a lot of America that you wouldn't necessarily get to see unless you're prepared to drive an awful long way. You go through some small towns to big cities. It's really, really an adventure journey.
In the 20 years that we've lived in America, we've never managed to do this journey because it takes too long, it's more expensive, it's not very practical, and it's not the most comfortable ride. However,
it is more fun.
It's more fun. We got to see plenty of places in our stops, and we just had a great time. And it was a really good way of seeing parts of America that you're not going to see on an airplane. Thanks for watching and joining us on our Amtrak experience. Our next train is going to be the Pacific Surfliner, which is going to go from San Diego to Los Angeles. So like and subscribe, and you'll make sure you can watch the next one.